everyone, Joshua Hanlon here at Brick Rodeo in Houston, Texas, and today I'm joined by a couple of builders with their fantastic castle layout here. So do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Right. I'm Tyer.
I'm Peter Myers.
And what is this build that you have for us today?
This is called Cloudstone Castle. So it's basically just a castle on a small island in a very small bay that's fairly calm, and then so...
You use the word small there a lot, but this is really quite a substantial build when you look at this here. So talk about the kind of build process. Was this something that you two kind of split evenly, or how did that work?
So it's definitely not split evenly. So I built all of this island and then the castle, and Peter did the boat.
I brought trans blue 1x2 tiles, and I did part of the island in the front.
Yes.
And provided moral support.
All the moral support.
So let's start with the castle then, and then we'll move to the rest of the build. What was your overall thinking with this castle? Is it based on any real-life building?
So it's just loosely based on like just realistic designs for castles, but it's not based off of anything in particular. It's probably posed like the most difficulty because of the angled walls. Getting those lined up between different base plates was rather difficult to do. But other than that, it's a fairly simple design, fairly square.
The idea of this collaboration, it was originally supposed to be more of a together collab, but Joel ended up having more time than the rest of us that were supposed to be in it. And so the idea was to build kind of a castle high on a mountain in a bay. So this was kind of the idea, but to kind of have a fantastical, fantasy building, like a castle. And so Joel kind of incorporated the colors in some of the minifigures and just the colors of the water to make it feel less of a military outpost and more of a fantasy castle, something you'd see in a fairy tale, perhaps.
Yeah. So it would have been bigger, but I only had 3 days to build the castle, so...
It still turned out very nice. And not only the angled wall sections, which are great, but then you've got some actual kind of buildings over here in this area. So talk about what those are.
So there's probably just like a small great hall and then the keep or whatever. So I wanted to make them bigger, but time kind of got up to me.
And then as we move around this section, we'll take a look at the rock work, and specifically, what do we have going on here?
So right here is just a small cave, and underneath we have a Delta squad fighting some travelers on their little raft right there. And yeah, and we've got me and Peter. We figured out our sig figs were identical, so we're pulling the Spider-Man meme right there.
You got some of the soldiers walking up to the wall there?
Yes, yes.
Part of an elven coalition that's coming to pay homage to the human soldiers in the castle. So part of the fantasy element, has to be some other races other than just humans there.
Now, if you can, talk a little bit more about the rock work, because not only does the rock work itself look fantastic, but you've also got this section underneath there. So what's the support structure so that doesn't all collapse?
It's actually just a bunch of bricks and then the 16 by 16 plates. Combining those two generally comes out to a fairly strong structure, and just hope it doesn't fall down. That's generally how it goes.
It looks like you've mixed some very small slopes with some of these much larger kind of wedge pieces as well. Do you find that works well for creating the large sections of this?
Most of the time, yes, but for this one, it was just I had to use whatever pieces I could find, so that's what it got to.
It's kind of whatever you had on hand.
Yes, that is what happened.
That works. That works very well. So when you're bringing this to the show, did you build this in different sections?
So it's on 16 different 32 by 32 base plates. Everyone comes apart, so that's how I transported it.
Modular is the way to go for all you future mock builders out there. Makes it a lot easier to transport.
So we can move around to more of the front section here and look at some more of this. Let's talk about these buildings out here down closer to the water.
So those are just probably like the entrance buildings to the castle where I guess trades and stuff happen. So
the wharf.
Yes.
The seaside buildings where a lot of trading happens. You got a ship coming into harbor here, probably offloading some pork and other supplies.
Yes, all the pork.
And this is your ship here, right?
It is, yes. So I designed this ship a while ago, about maybe 2 years ago, and we're repurposing it for this collab. But we thought it went with the color scheme that we were going for well. And we ended up naming it. Someone else came up with the name for it, but it's called the Flying Pig. Just a little bit of some puns in there, but we have a lot of, as we said, pork aboard the ship, ready to be offloaded.
And when you're working on a castle like this, how do you balance out kind of the the big gray wall sections with having some detail but maybe not going over the top? How do you decide how much to add on there?
Generally, it's just like kind of muscle memory at this point. I've been doing this for so long that I just know when to use pieces and when not to use pieces. It just comes naturally.
A lot of years of building.
Yeah. I don't even think about it at this point.
Just kind of putting those studs or the tiles sticking out in the right spots, just at kind of natural intervals.
Yeah. Yep.
We wanted to make a comment too. Our friend Joe built the bridge in the front there.
The highlight of the build, really.
It is. It's a ruined bridge, as you can see. There's a tower there that they didn't want to upkeep anymore. So, thanks to Joe.
Well, it's an impressive build, both the rockwork and the castle itself, all very eye-catching. So I'm glad you guys, even though the collab didn't work exactly like you thought it would, I'm glad you could still finish it and bring it to the show.
Well, thanks for interviewing us.
We're grateful it's here. Thank you, guys.